Well, good morning, Diet Disruptors. Coach Carrie here, and I am again with Coach Jess. But I love that today it's like, as an educator, I feel like every day is so different. You could be in school one day, you could be at home another day, and you are at school right now, aren't you?
I am. Yes, I'm in my office.
Tell people what you do besides being a certified health coach and helping people all day long with their nutrition. What's your day job?
Yes, so during the day, I am a school library media specialist. I work at a middle school, and it's a special middle school because we actually only have sixth graders. We have like 500 sixth graders here. Yeah.
Wow. I love sixth grade. Sixth grade is like you're kind of middle schooler, but you're still kind of like a little kid. And
Yeah.
I the kind of difference between the two. So I was a middle school teacher for most of my career, so I can totally appreciate that and love that that's what you do to serve others on top of being a health coach. So thank you for that. So we know, right? Like we're live, we never know what's going to happen. There could be announcements right now. You could have a kid walk in, but you have some time right now, some time off. So you're gonna just jump in. So I'm super excited. So we are kind of digging into a holiday theme this month, right? I feel like you have like a little holiday look to yourself right now.
Oh, yeah. Now that you say it, I didn't intend to do that, but it worked out.
I love it. I love it. So we're also streaming live when we do this in our Facebook group and in our Facebook page and in YouTube. And then this is also coming at people on our podcast. And Jess, a lot of people don't know this, but you are the real reason we even have a podcast. Media specialist also means she's a tech wizard. So Jess helps a lot behind the scenes with our tech. So thank you for all that you do to bring all of this out to people. I literally will finish recording and then I just send it to Jess and just makes magic happen with it. So thank you so much for that. All right. So holidays are literally around the corner. We have a couple of weeks left until Thanksgiving. And then, the Christmas season is sort of upon us from there. But we wanted to be a little proactive with people and start giving them holiday tips this year so that we could be thriving throughout the holidays and not just surviving. How many people, we talked about this a little bit last week, just think, oh, forget it. The holidays are here. I'm just whatever. And just kind of give ourselves permission to not take care of ourselves. And then we feel like garbage,
Yeah.
right? That's what you used to do, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
Taking that time to just not take any time, right? And there's 2 months right now. It's 2 months. When you think about how much that is according to the year, we just throw that away or think I'll just start in January. We're doing ourselves such a disservice. So last week we talked about, not saving up calories for that big meal, right? And I just love eating. So to eat all day works right well with up my alley. Wouldn't you agree?
Totally. I love it.
This week, we're going to dig into something, and I love that you are here and I am here because we're very different. We live on different ends of the spectrum on this tip that we're going to talk about today, right? So, we're going to talk about alcohol. Now, I love myself my glass of wine. Everybody knows that. I love wine. I am a wine drinker. And just, you don't really drink.
No, I
And
don't.
has that always been that way? Like it wasn't just because of nutrition, it was just sort of, you just don't drink.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was quite a few different things. I did used to drink when I was younger. As I got older with kids and stuff, that really wasn't the time. I also, even before I think I gained the knowledge as to why this was, I was feeling the effects of alcohol, and it just for me wasn't worth it.
Mhm.
And I'm just only now learning about the clean wine as an option. But for me, it's not something that I need in my life. So I don't do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we're going to talk tips today about if you have alcohol in your life, right? And how you can manage it. Because we aren't about deprivation. Now, there's always too much of anything is too much, right? And that's true of all things in our life. But things in moderation are important, but we never actually tag what moderation means, right? And like we're not really clear on that. So we're going to talk about how you integrate alcohol if you're not a drinker, we don't want you to start drinking. And if you feel like you need to take a break from alcohol, and especially some of the things that we'll teach around the impact of alcohol, Jess has, does the holiday seasoning, and she doesn't really drink. And so we're going to talk about some ways that you can integrate that relaxation and that fun that some people associate with alcohol or wine or drinking, and give you some alternatives to that. So I think we're going to have a really good session today. I'm excited about this. Okay. So I think one of the things that I have kind of always known, but to be very honest, they don't train us a lot about this in nutrition school, is really truly the impact that alcohol has on our sleep. And Jess, you have been doing a lot of research lately on sleep, and I just got a sleep number bed, which means I've been tracking my sleep in new ways. So just dig in a little bit about what you've been learning about the importance of sleep, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I read this a whole book on sleep. I've been listening to podcasts on sleep. I track my sleep with my Fitbit, so I'm constantly looking at my numbers. And one of the things, I mean, we all think, okay, we need 8 hours of sleep. That's just like a number that we have in our head. We know we should go to bed. But I think that we never really sit and think about the impact that sleep has on every aspect of our lives, even our metabolism, right? So our metabolism is impacted. When we don't get enough sleep, our body is actually craving more sugar through the day, and it's processing that sugar differently. So there's just so many things that we don't realize when we don't get enough sleep. And we're talking about alcohol, the impact of having alcohol. People think that if you drink alcohol before you go to sleep, like you have that nightcap, that's going to help you sleep better. And it might help you fall asleep faster initially, but the quality of your sleep is going to be worse. My father-in-law, he actually suffers from insomnia. He tried this for a while. He would have his nightcap, and he stopped doing it. He said the exact same thing. He said he would fall asleep, but then he would wake up, and it really wasn't serving him at all.
Yeah. And so what's so interesting is just last week, I shared this in our membership group, because we track our sleep with our new little sleep number bed. I looked at this. I'm going to share my screen really quick, because we're on Zoom too, right? And so this is something I pasted in our membership group. This is my husband's sleep last Tuesday, right? And when we look at his sleep IQ score, and you get this when you buy the sleep number bed, look how much, no, let me be really clear. He had a glass of bourbon, actually probably 1.5 glasses of bourbon when he did this. He likes his bourbon. And look at his sleep. It's so interesting to me that he got a sleep score of 73, but all those little orange things were times that he was restless. Okay. Then the next night, he didn't have anything to drink, and that was his score.
Oh
now
my
his
goodness.
score is higher, but look at his sleep.
There's like no orange.
There's like no orange. And that was basically when his alarm went off and then he snoozed, which is a whole nother thing we're not really supposed to do. Think about 28 minutes of restless right at the end versus, oh gosh, what was this other one? An hour and 23 minutes of broken sleep the whole time. And the only difference was alcohol. So I think that that's really interesting. And I'm not telling people not to drink alcohol, but what I am saying is, I always say, when you know, you can do. And so the more that we know, the more we can do. Now, everybody knows that I love wine and my husband loves bourbon. We don't not do it, but we also know that that data is really important. And so having a glass of bourbon every night, he was like, how is that impacting my life and my nutrition and my mental health if I'm doing a glass every night or a couple nights a week? When you think about that, you think, okay, so now it's really about being intentional, right? And being thoughtful, because once you know, you can do. And so alcohol will impact our sleep. And our sleep, like Jess was just talking about, will impact multiple aspects of our health and nutrition. I mean, it's well documented. So now people know I talk about clean crafted wine a lot. And the reason I'm so obsessed with it is, I was just saying this on our coaching call last week in our membership group. I had a glass of clean crafted wine last Thursday night. Okay. And I got a 97 in my sleep. That's crazy. And I had like perfect sleep the whole time. And I had a glass of wine. Well, I call that the clean crafted wine. And so I did this little like kind of test and had a glass of wine, of dirty wine the next day. Immediately I got a headache, immediately get stuffy. It happens every single time. It's why I don't drink it. And my sleep was completely restless. I deleted the score on it, but I was orange all the way through. One glass of regular wine. And so to me, that's crazy. And the reason why is because 97% of wine is made with 300 different chemical pesticides, 250 different chemicals, 16 to 32 grams of added sugar. So think about all of that sugar that's going into our system on top of the alcohol. It's no wonder we talk about blood sugar stabilization. We're all out of whack. I even woke up feeling like that. Cotton mouth, one glass of wine. And so it's about when you know you can do. Clean crafted wine to me is a no-brainer. I literally have bottles and bottles of dirty wine in my house, and just really won't drink them because I've seen so much what the difference is. So if you're going to be doing some of that drinking, understand the impact that it has. Also understand better choices out there. Now, I do have people that will tell me like they'll do a gin and seltzer or vodka and seltzer because I know when my mom was pregnant with me, she was told if it was clear, it was fine.
Oh my goodness.
It makes me laugh so hard. Or like those Trulies, like those kinds of things, because you can see the nutritional label on that. But what I have learned in my research around why I'm so passionate about clean crafted wine is that there are no regulations on alcohol in terms of how they're manufacturing it, how they're producing it, and then how they communicate that to us. So even vodka, even gin, those Trulies, all the alcohol part of it can be filled with chemicals, can be filled with additives, and can be filled with sugar that they don't have to disclose. So I am all about being an informed consumer. And if we don't do that, we're really, really screwing ourselves. And also think about this, the more toxins we put in our body, the more fat cells get produced.
Mhm.
So that to me is crazy. So I
Mhm.
always talk about clean crafted wine as a no-brainer swap. It doesn't cost any more and you get it delivered straight to your door. I, of course, am not telling people that they should drink, but if you are going to, make the better choices. They even have Scout and Cellar is the group that we always talk about. They even have mixables now. So they have it's high alcohol content, but lower than like a vodka, but it's like a neutral grape wine. So you can make your cocktails.
Well, that's really cool.
I know. So I'll do that sometimes. I'm not a vodka drinker, but like if I want to have a little cocktail, I'll do that with seltzer and lime juice. And I know that I'm not putting anything garbagey in my body.
Mhm.
Now, let's talk about alcohol in and of itself when it comes to empty calories.
Mhm.
I actually and I've never talked to you about this, but I've actually been calling alcohol the fourth macronutrient.
Okay.
What do you think I mean by that?
Well, I'm glad you're saying that because I was thinking about this the other day because we have friends they like to drink that what's that seltzer, that alcohol seltzer.
Trulies or those
That
hard seltzer things.
yeah. And I was looking at it because I think it only had 2 grams of sugar, and yet it still had 100 calories. And so I said, I don't understand where these calories are coming from. I felt really silly. And the guy said, oh, it's from the alcohol because alcohol has calories. And then I was really kind of chewing on that because I'm like, for me, right, the 3 macronutrients are where we're getting our calories from. So how the heck does alcohol have its own calories?
Yes.
So,
Oh,
so I need to learn about this.
no, it's really so interesting. So even though they might only have like 2 grams of carbs, now again, one of those seltzers, it kind of makes me scared because there's so much garbage in them that they don't have to put on the label because it's the alcohol part of it. That's why I do love the seltzers that Scout and Cellar has because I know what's in them, right? And even those though are like 0 to 2 grams of carbs and no added sugars, but same with right? Those seltzers say no added sugars, but there are still calories. So you're getting the calories from the alcohol, which turns into sugar in your body. Okay. So even if you're seeing 0 to 2 grams of carbs, it translates actually into higher carbs because of the alcohol. So it's not an even swap. So a typical glass of wine, there's a huge formula for it, which is very complicated and I won't get into, but a typical glass of wine actually kind of translates. And again, this isn't like a hard, fast translation, but your body kind of reacts to it as if it's about 60 to 70 grams of carbs. in 1 glass of dirty wine, 1 glass of regular wine that you're drinking.
And people don't realize this at all.
No, a glass of like clean crafted wine, for example, or a glass of like, if you can find clean crafted, like anything that's about like that 90 to 100 calories would translate to about 15 to 20 kind of grams of carbs. But again, they're not nutrient dense. They're not doing anything for you, for your body. But if you're doing that and you're not thoughtful about what you're pairing with it, you're now just taking in so many empty calories with no nutrients that no wonder people, when they start drinking again or over the holidays, end up gaining weight. It might not actually be all the food, it's the empty calories from alcohol. So
It makes you
again,
hungry.
say that again?
It makes you hungry.
It
You're not
does.
eating
Yeah.
good calories.
And because it's spiking your blood sugar, when our blood sugars spike, what happens?
Yeah, then eventually it crashes, right? And then we're hungry.
And we're on that blood sugar roller coaster, and a
Mhm.
blood sugar spike means we store fat. So
Right.
not only are we getting the fat from toxins, now we're storing fat from the blood sugar spike. So we have to, gosh, PFC every 3 is so important when we're going to be drinking, okay? Now, when we're thinking about a glass of dirty wine or a margarita or anything with like the high sugar, like those cocktails with high sugar and all of that kind of stuff, you need to think about the added sugars as well as the sugars from the alcohol. So you're literally talking about, you could be taking the equivalent of 60 to 70 grams of carbs or more in a drink. Okay. So, and 300 to 600 calories of emptiness. Okay. So I'm not telling people not to drink. I drink, but I'm really thoughtful about how I do this. So a glass of clean crafted wine is only about 100 calories, and any regular drink with like a seltzer or cocktail, it will be maybe about 100 calories. Again, if you don't know how the alcohol is made, you're introducing more toxins into it. But thinking about that, if a regular PFC meal, I usually say is about, we don't count calories, but if you're doing it right with the right portions, you're going to be at about 300 calories per about. And because we're always advocating for clean, whole, unprocessed food, our bodies love those calories, right? Our bodies can do something with all of those calories. 300 calories of a clean PFC meal is very different than 300 calories of Oreo cookies, right? Our body cannot do anything with Oreo cookies. But if you're drinking a glass of dirty wine, for example, and that's 300 calories, which is about what it is, but because we don't know how much added sugar is actually in it, even your FitnessPal app is not going to be accurate. So we're going to go with about 300 calories. It could actually be more. Think about that as a whole other meal. You have 2 glasses of that. You're talking about an additional 600 calories. So we have to be really thoughtful about that. So my take is, you going for like 100 calorie kind of a drink. That's why clean crafted wine is so powerful, because it's a no-brainer swap. And then you want to have nutrient dense carbs that are light to be able to absorb the sugars from the alcohol and do something nutrient dense and rich for your body. So let's talk about what some of those like lighter nutrient types of carbs are. What are some that come to mind for you?
I would think immediately a good salad, right? With kale in there and maybe some tomatoes chopped up in there. That would be what my go-to.
We couldn't eat enough of those, right? Like we could eat as much as we want of that, right? Like steamed broccoli, right? Like our bodies love that. Any of those like cauliflower, light carb vegetables. What?
Peppers. I love peppers.
Oh, peppers, right. And they're so filled with antioxidants, and they're going to do some of that counterbalancing to what you're putting in your body when it comes to alcohol. So I say, if you're going to have the drinks, make sure your carbs are filled with nutrients, that we're not doing lots of breads or starchy potatoes, the starchy stuff. Even like carrots are a great carb, but they're denser, they're starchier. Sweet potatoes are filled with nutrients. So I wouldn't be mad at you if you had a sweet potato, but remember, you're adding in those calories from the alcohol, and it's not really going to counteract it because it's so dense. You're not going to be able to eat a lot of that. You can eat a ton of light vegetables and be able to really counteract the toxins and the sugar that the alcohol is giving you.
I
So
think it's good that we say this too, that you said about the bread, because so many people have that misconception that they need to eat something like bread to like
soak
soak
up
up the alcohol.
let's soak up the alcohol with those nutrient dense light carbs and of course proteins and fats, right? And so you always want to be having your proteins and fats, and if you can, eat those first and then do your carbs afterwards, because we actually need the proteins and the fats metabolize and kind of soak into our body slower than sugar and carbs do. And so we want to be able to kind of balance our blood sugar without the sugar being ahead of itself, ahead of everything else. Otherwise, your protein and fat are trying to catch up with itself. Okay. So that's like, if you're going to indulge in the alcohol, first of all, you're doing yourself such a disservice if you're not, and you are drinking anyway. Scout and Cellar. I mean, there's just nothing else out there that we would advocate for. You can go to our shop and see the link on there, disruptyournutrition.com/shop. We have all the information about that in there. I am insanely passionate about that because it's sick what our industry is allowing us to have and what we think is okay. And I love wine, right? All
So many
right.
people think wine is good for them and they're drinking it because of that. And then to hear all of this, it's just crazy.
The benefits of wine are completely negated in 97% of the wine in the world. If you're drinking the clean crafted wine, and Scout and Cellar curates wines from all over the world. It's not that they're making the wine, it's they're curating wines from small farmers, small vineyards all around the world that are doing it right. It's grapes from old vines and the natural yeast that grows on them. That is it. That is where you get the benefits of wine from. Anything else is literally garbage. It's like seeing I don't know, what are like something that you see in the grocery store, processed food that's like non-GMO, gluten-free, and they act like it's healthy, like it's a health food, like potato chips, right? That's what it is. It's like potato chips thinking wine is healthy for the majority of people.
Like a bag of gummy bears that say fat-free on them.
My husband, before the pandemic, would travel to Germany a lot, which is the home of where gummy bears were made. And it is so funny how he'll bring home and he's like, look, it's fat free. He doesn't do that anymore. He knows the truth, but it's true, right? We all think that. It's like, wine is completely like gummy bears. Okay. So now let's go into though. So you're at a party, you say no to alcohol. That's just not your choice. Now, for some people that are like, I really don't want to be drinking as much anymore, right? Or I know what this stuff is and I don't have clean crafted wine with me. So I want to say no. The discipline of declining takes practice. It's hard. But like, and you have to be really in tune with your why. Like, it's easy for you to say no because it's not part of who you are. It's not that hard for you to say no. Would you agree?
Yeah.
But I think for some people to say no, I think that's another conversation. We're going to talk about mindset in December. So that's another conversation. But what are alternatives that you can be still cheering and like talking and engaging, but you still want something in your hand.
Right.
So what are some things that you do?
I think I go in one of two directions, right? So if I want to kind of make like I'm having like a celebration drink with everybody else, I really just like seltzer, to be honest with you.
I love seltzer.
And if I want to make it a little fancy, I like to crush up my ice and put it in there and put maybe some lime in there. You can even put some like mint leaves in there and make it kind of look like a mojito. You can get kind of creative with that. So that would be one direction I would go in. And then the other direction, because it is the holidays and it's cold out, we like to get cozy, is I love tea. I am a huge tea drinker. So I'll have all different kinds of teas. In the holiday, there's, you can have a chai tea.
Yes.
And it's so good. And, you have control over how you put together. We're not going to Starbucks to get this chai latte, right?
Yes.
So I like to put my stevia dropper in there. If I want to have it a little creamier, I can put some almond milk, or I found this really yummy organic coconut creamer that I get from Whole Foods that I'll use if I want to make it a little bit thicker. But I have lots of options, and for me that's satisfying, and I still feel like I'm with the group. I don't feel
and I think what I love is like in an evening nightcap, right? But we just talked at the beginning, we talked about how that actually impacts your sleep. I can have a cup of tea and feel that same level of like relaxation that a glass of wine does for me. And it took me doing the 4 weeks to wellness years ago when I first started developing this to really realize that I didn't need the glass of wine. I really wanted it, but a cup of tea really could do for me what that wine was doing, and I slept better, you know? So I think
I feel
that
like it's such a like sensory experience too, because you get to hold the warm cup, and then the tea is always very aromatic. So it's more
yes,
than the drinking of the tea, and even the drinking the warm beverage, like going all the way down, is really soothing, I think.
it's setting your body up too for a good night's sleep as well. If it isn't at night, I can do. I love to do a fizz stick in my seltzer or even a fizz stick in my tea, but I can't do
Mhm.
that past like 5 o'clock at night because I won't sleep very well. Talking about
Yeah,
sleep, right? Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. When I lived in Mexico a couple of years ago, our best friends that were there, they're Mexican, they don't drink. And so when we would go out for dinner and stuff, I didn't really want to be the only one having a glass of wine or anything like that. So I love lime juice and seltzer. That to me is I look forward to it. And who is it? Trader Joe's has this awesome bottle of lime juice.
Oh,
So,
nice.
oh my gosh, I would put a little bit of lime juice in and then regular seltzer. Ugh, Topo Chico is my favorite kind of seltzer, but you can do, oh my gosh, any kind of seltzer. In Mexico, they used to squeeze the lime juice for you. And um, I would say jugo de limon aparte, which means lime juice on the side. And they would squeeze the lime juice for me. And I put it in. Oh,
Nice.
better than anything. But I don't squeeze my own lime juice like that. I just buy the Trader Joe's stuff.
There you
So
go.
okay, so I hope this gave people some tips and some tricks and some things like that. Now, speaking of, I mentioned the 4 weeks to wellness lifestyle launch and the fact that typically we try not to drink during that time. It is a nice time. You know, we actually toggled back and forth about when our last 4 weeks to wellness would be this year. And a lot of times we'll do a last one in October. But with the pandemic and with people not really going out as much, there were people talking about the fact that they really wanted to do a great reset, true reset with their accountability coaches and with me. So we're doing one November 16th. So this week it is open. We're opening the doors. The doors will close on Sunday. We want people to register. Jess is one of the coaches. We have an entire group of certified coaches who will hold your hand through 4 weeks of learning exactly how to eat clean, how to eat PFC every three. And we talk about it as a lifestyle launch because it's not like 4 weeks and you're done. And it's not like 4 weeks and you're going to learn how to only eat clean and PFC and then boom, you have to do that for the rest of your life. It's a launch. It's like an oil change for your car to get your body in the best possible condition so that you can then be able to do the things like have your alcohol, have your Oreo cookies, have your gummy bears if you want to, but you know how to do it right. And so all the stuff that we're talking about here, our members know all this stuff really, you know, and I think that that's all part of the 4 weeks. So we are going to do one in November. So a week from today is when prep week will start. Doors will close on Sunday. We will not offer another one until March 2021. So I really am hoping that people will do this because
There.
it is just to me so important. Now, there's a few little bonuses we're going to throw out. We're going to tell people about this week. So we're going to kind of drop the bonuses this week. So pay attention to them. And if you're ready to sign up, go to 4w2w.com. You're going to get your choice of coach right now. But we are going to allow people to be in for an extra month in our membership group. Normally, you only get 6 weeks in the membership group, but we really want to support people into the new year. Right. And so we're going to give people that extra month so that when you're going into January, you are set up for success. So that's one of the bonuses that we're going to offer for people to be able to do the 4 weeks to wellness. Another one that we're going to do is we're going to be giving access to our entire 2020 recipe subscription.
Oh
So
my
if they
goodness.
sign up for November 16th, they're going to get the entire 2020 recipe subscription. That's like a no, it's not quite $200 value.
That's huge.
That's huge. Everything, all there, these beautiful PDFs with a whole table of contents. It's so nice. So just those two things, and we're going to drop one more over the week. But if this is what you want to do and you're ready to really take your health to the next level and to show the holidays what you can do and to start off 2021 strong, don't you think this is what everybody needs to be doing?
Absolutely. 100%. And those recipes, my goodness, they're so good.
And
I
they're
love
so simple, but so
They are. And
so
you know what I love about them is I don't have to go and like find some random store in some back alley for some weird ingredient that I've never heard of before. Like
right.
everything on the
No.
list are things I can pronounce, I've seen before, I can get them from my local grocery store. It's just so awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we really want to bring people on board. I always say this is what everybody needs. You're going to learn blood sugar stabilization. You're going to learn how to eat in threes, PFC every three. You're going to learn what serves your body, what doesn't. The act of doing it while being supported and having an entire community on your side and us teaching you how to not only do new habits, but how to sustain those habits. You
Mhm.
can't fail. You just can't fail unless you literally decide to completely disengage. I guess
Right.
that's the only way. But we won't let you fail. So 4w2w.com. I hope that people are going to be wanting to do this. Stay tuned for this week for some more announcements about it. But Jess, thank you. We didn't get interrupted once.
When I know, I'm so happy.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Well, thank you for taking time out of your day. And everybody, I would love to hear in the comments, what are your takeaways? What are the things that you learned today? And if you're thinking about doing the 4 weeks to wellness, let me know that too.